Period. Welcome to the diary room, Sammy.
Thank you.
How have you been enjoying the Big Brother Discord house?
I've been enjoying it for the most part. Honestly, I expected the cast to be a lot quieter and a lot younger, so I'm kind of glad that that's not the case. I think this is probably the oldest average age I've ever played one of these with, which is really refreshing, I'll be honest. So, as a whole, I'm liking the people so far. I mean, there's some people I wish was more talkative. I mean, I'm about to lose a person from my major who I'm not convinced has been online in the last 48 hours. But besides that, I mean, most of the people have been around.
Sounds good. So, speaking of your major, you guys came in and got these assignments, and how did you feel about your major? Um, yeah, basically that.
Like the group or like what one I got or both.
Yeah, but kind of both.
For the one that I got, I mean, I've been telling the house guest that I'm like, well, you know what? I don't really think that it makes sense. Like, I don't know, but like, I think that like being in the strategic one absolutely fits how I play the game. Like, I obviously like to be social and like I'd like to win some comps and stuff like that. But like, I feel like with the cast, I've been finding I have to like purposely limit how much I'm trying to play strategically. So like, it's definitely the one that makes the most sense. But like, I'm liking and like for the people in my major, I'm liking them a lot. Like, I mean, I posted my trust ranking in the public thing, and besides Zareen, my major has like in my top five, three of them are the other three from my major. So like I've been liking talking to them a lot. Like they've all been people where it's like, you know what, I could work with them. I'd be happy sticking with any of them. So like I like the group. I like the major choice. I think it all works out pretty well.
All right, sounds good. So, you guys played Icebreakers for your first HOH, and Shinx, of course, wins that HOH. How did you feel when Shinx had won? Was there any concern for you as far as your safety for the week? And did anything with the nomination surprise you?
See, like I what didn't really have concern about the actual vote itself and how it went because like my thing was basically I didn't like he had already told me that I was going to like that I would be good if he won. And it's like there wasn't really any reason for him to tell me that week one unprompted just to be like, oh haha, just kidding, you're going on the block. So like I figured I'd be good, and I figured it would be like the easiest noms possible because he, from what he told me, got a full list. So like I felt like it was a lot better than most. Like there are a couple of people who I think if they would have won, I probably would have gone on the block due to not having like pretty much any conversation with them. So Shink's winning was definitely a pretty good outcome, all things considered. Like there was definitely better ones, but like my biggest concern more so came afterwards because everybody seems close with Shinx. He seems to have gotten words from everyone. So it's like I think that he I think that he was able to position himself really well, really strongly with this competition. And like I feel like he had to do it in a very obvious way because he went for the win. So like that at least is one thing. But I feel like it probably made him like the most standout player to me in terms of like okay, right now, I don't really need to care that much, but long term, I can't just forget about this.
Right, very interesting.
Oh, I also
Um,
forgot to really talk about with the noms, but like, yeah, the noms didn't really surprise me. They seemed like the two who by far talked the least to like everybody, and I think I said to a couple of people, I would have been very surprised if even one of them was not an initial nom.
Period. Sounds good. Um, so the veto competition plays out. Shinx wins that as well, and keeps nominations the same. Anything of note here for you as far as the veto cycle?
Um, the only thing that's really of note isn't even anything with that, but it's the just the fact that like between the fact that this cycle has shown me that Brandy doesn't really seem to have that much in the way of connections, and the fact that like Brandy's time during the competition was a little far off. It makes me feel a lot better about the fact that I want to vote Brandy, even though I know I'll be voting in the minority, just because that way I don't lose points for the punishment, because I would really rather avoid that being the case. But I think that just in terms of it, like Shinx having 2 wins, like it kind of goes along with like the concern part. But honestly, I'm not really all that concerned about Shinx winning this competition. It doesn't really seem like a competition that's that much like, oh no, you pulled this off, you did all of this, like, oh, whatever there. But it's like, it's like, I think that there's a lot worse things that he could have won that would have concerned me more. Like if it was something that involved like a lot more skill sets and stuff like that. So really, if anything, I'm almost glad that he won it because of the fact that it means that when the time does come, it's easier to be like, hey, this person won a to be like, hey, this person has won 2 competitions already, and one was a super social one, instead of just the latter of which. So like, basically, it just further established that I want to preserve points this cycle, and just the fact that like I feel like it gives more ammunition against Shinx later. I mean, if Shinx keeps winning competitions, then this will mean more long run. But like Shinx winning the veto doesn't really mean all that much to me, because it's basically like, did you spot these faster?
All right, fair enough. So with the nominations being locked, with Zareen and Brandy being on the block, how did you kind of weigh the pros and cons as far as who you felt was better to keep for your game?
See, it's kind of hard with this because it's like, if I was picking like who is better for my game to keep, then the answer would always have been Zareen, because like before yesterday, I hadn't even had a question of it, because Brandy had sent me like 2 messages the entire time and then didn't respond to me for 2 days, and apparently had been gunning for the HOH to other people, but I had heard absolutely nothing about this. So like I wasn't really feeling very good about that prospect, I'll be honest. But I feel like Brandy had to reach out a bit more. So like I still would much rather keep Zareen. I think that because of that, in a world where they both don't have connections, Zareen would have a much better connection to me than Brandy would. But like, even when it came to a point like, okay, well, Brandy has been trying a little bit and talking a bit, I still wouldn't have wanted to keep Brandy over Zareen. But like, it's not like like me and Michael were talking a good amount with it, but it's like there's really nothing that we could even realistically try to do. Like if Zareen was around, I don't think it would have worked even if she showed up during the day today, but at least then there would have been like a chance. But I think with the fact that like Zareen has not been around like again in days, I don't see how to. I didn't even really put that much thought into what should I do at this point, because it's a losing battle. Like I can accept what's going to happen, or I can put myself out on the line, make myself probably a target, and make it look like my major's all sticking together for what? For literally nothing.
Very interesting. Um, so I see you've gotten pulled into a little alliance. So kind of tell us a little about it. Is this like a serious thing for you? Um,
I'm
and
sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to need you to say the name of the alliance so I know what one you're referring to.
please, well, I was thinking of Monster Fuckers.
Honestly, I like the group quite a bit. Like, I mean, it's 2 people who were really high up on my trust ranking, and one who I even expressed in the trust ranking. Like, I really enjoyed talking to during the call. It was someone who, like, with Livy, I really was like, I would like to talk to her more, but I just haven't really done it yet. So, like, I'm really happy with the group. I hope it sticks together. Like, of this and the other 2 like proposed slash in limbo alliances, this is definitely the one of the 3 that I would want to stick the most with and see myself being more likely to stay with.
All right, very interesting. And so, what is the update with this whole Mira situation?
I guess the closest thing to an update is we seem to be playing around each other, which is probably the best way that we can get it, because like I was curious what was going to happen if the alliance that would have had us both actually happened, which it didn't. But like as of right now, like we don't have a one-on-one. It's the only person I haven't talked to privately, and I don't even think we've responded to anything that each other has said in the public chats. Like I think we're both just kind of playing like the other doesn't exist for now.
All right, fair enough. Um, so, kind of just in general, I know you kind of gave a a very detailed trust ranking in your diary room, but has anything changed since then as far as like where you're kind of putting people?
I think that like it's gonna be really tough with it because there isn't really anyone who has gone down in my ranking, but there's multiple people who would have gone up. Like as of right now, I think that like for instance, like Malik would probably be going down, not because of anything of our conversations, but just because of the fact that Ryan has been talking to me like more than he had before and was talking about wanting to do an alliance together, where I was the one who he was like initially talking it out with, and the only reason why it hasn't happened yet is just because Crows kind of ghosted him. So like there's that. There's Libby, who was also super low on the list, who it's like, okay, well, now I have a group with where it's like getting pulled into it and it's like talking more. If the other alliance ends up happening, I'll have two with her. So it's like, okay, great. That's another reason to trust. So it's like I I feel like everybody's kind of been on the up. Like I feel like the other person who, assuming that all the groups end up happening, assuming whatever happens there, like I can see some of the people in my S tier just dropping out of like not dropping because I trust them less, but just because I have more connections to other people. Because like even just going down the list a bit, like Jordan and MJ have both been talking a good amount of like game talk with me. They've both been involved in like groups or potential groups with it. Like I've been talking a lot to Blaze all day. Like Val has less of a reason to go up, but if the Canadian Alliance does happen, then I'll have an alliance with her. Like pretty much everybody has reason to go up, but I have to when I do my next trust ranking, it's going to be very hard to decide like how much do people deserve to go up and if the people above them do deserve to drop as a result. So it's like I really don't know. Like I think the only guesses I have is like I think that after all my conversation with him, I think that Michael would probably be at the top for me so far. So I think that would change a little bit. And like I've had a lot less conversation with Crow the last couple of days, so I still trust him a lot. And apparently I'm like the main person who he's been telling people that he trusts. So like he's still going to be really high on there, but he might take a small dip. I could see him being like high A instead of low S, for instance. But like for the most part, it's just going to be small changes. Like I think that the people who are going to have the most changes are going to be everybody below them went up.
Very interesting. Well, so we'll learn the results of this eviction soon. But as far as the next cycle goes, are you are you thinking HOH is something in your sights?
See, my thing is, it's a common thing when I tend to play these where I always joke that I always try and go for the first HOH because I find that by the time that the second HOH hits, I get myself into a position where I can't afford to win it. I feel like I could, in theory, win the HOH. And like, depending on what it is, I might actually consider going for it, partly just in general, but also I kind of have a bad feeling about what happens if people in my major just start getting picked off, which I don't think will be what happens. But I've noticed that like people have been voting based on people seem very much like I don't want to lose points, and I don't want to get into a position where if I go on the block, whoever I'm up against has like four guaranteed votes and I have like one. So like I don't know, I'm tempted for that reason. And like if I win, like I mean I have two easy noms to put up. it would just be kind of difficult if the veto is used. But like I don't know. I feel like I might consider going for it mostly because I feel like if Brandy stays this week, I don't feel like if someone who's not in her major wins next week that she's going to survive next week. And in a world where Brandy leaves, I don't think that I can safely win HOH. Like I don't know. I still have like the thought of like should I do it before like a shot is taken at me due to like the like obvious problem, but like I I don't know. It's tough for me. I think that this one's probably I don't know. I keep going back and forth. I think I probably won't be fully decided until I start the competition. Like even after I see the competition, I'll probably still be waffling back and forth about if it is something I want to win or not.
All right. Well, thank you, Sammy. This has been very informative.
Well,
But these are all the questions that I have. So if you ever, want to talk more in the diary room to secure your GPA points, you already know to let us know. Help you out with that.
sounds good to me. Honestly, the thing is fun anyway. I mean, I probably wouldn't be like I'm gonna do this every week if I wasn't getting bribed to do it. But it's a fun thing. I would probably, if it was an option without the bribes, I would still want to do it every couple of weeks or so because it's a cool thing. I really like that it's done. Like I've tried doing like more things like video DRs and like ones that I've done, but I have to like basically script out what I'm going to talk about because it's so hard to be like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and this is what I'm going to tell everyone. So I like the fact that there being the questions and stuff like that. So it's a fun thing. So yeah, I'll pretty much unless the twist happens and I get the punishment and it's that I get
Please.
expelled from the game, I'll probably do at least one more of these.
All right. Well, we'll love to see it.